USA football is broken. Failures in international tournaments, embarrassing losses, and even with a World Cup on home soil in less than 2 years, the future doesn't look too bright for American fans. I've already pointed out everything that's wrong with US football, from the grassroots level to the corrupt man who monopolized all the power in the ussf, but there was something I didn't do in that video, and some of you rightfully pointed that out. I didn't offer any solutions, I just ranted and ranted for 8 minutes. And since I don't want to leave anyone unsatisfied, I've decided to try my best and give you a definitive list of changes that the United States Soccer Federation needs to implement in order to transform the country from a C-tier national team into a real contender alongside the cream of the crop. First off, use futsal as the foundation for young kids. When I did my research for this video, I was absolutely stunned to learn that many elementary schools in the USA have full-size grass fields for their kids to play sports. In fact, there is an overall abundance of full-size pitches all across the country, and these big fields are used to teach kids of all ages, which is simply unfathomable in pretty much every country in Europe, let alone in South America. Instead, most of us are taught football's basic principles at a young age through futsal. This way, kids are encouraged to develop more spatial awareness since they are constantly being closed off by opponents. Moreover, this method of learning focuses more on footballing qualities and not so much on athleticism. When playing in smaller fields, kids are forced to develop their football IQ to find the correct way out in one-on-one situations or even in scenarios where they're outnumbered. What I just described can still happen if you're playing on a larger field, but in that reality, athleticism becomes a true difference maker as the more agile and stronger kids will have an advantage with more space to roam. Over time, the smaller but smarter kids get left behind, and the cream of the crop of youth talent ends up being mostly limited in their understanding of the game. Time and time again, football has proven us that athleticism isn't the be-all end-all of the sport. Spain, Brazil and Argentina are 3 of the most successful national teams in history, and what do all of them have in common? The relative lack of emphasis on physical attributes. All of their future stars start by playing on the streets or in small indoor fields, and that's exactly how they correctly take their first steps in the game. Secondly, this is football, not the army. I get that it's part of American culture to train athletes in a structured and repetitive way, and that's perfectly fine, but football at the youth level doesn't work like that. It's very important for kids to feel excited and passionate about the sport, especially when soccer doesn't hold the same level of respect and significance in the country as other sports. Football can be fun. Kids can learn a lot about themselves and the game by simply being given the freedom to express themselves on the pitch. Obviously, they have to learn the basics and practice them, but learning needs to be fun. A kid's instinctive priority isn't to get better at something, it's to have fun doing it. So if something is neither mandatory nor fun, they'll simply quit, thereby diminishing the country's pool of talent. American coaches need to put themselves in their students' shoes and completely reevaluate their methods, which reminds me of another problem in US youth sports. Stop letting parents teach kids. It's crazy to me how common it is in America to see volunteer parents coaching kids. Sure, they might know a thing or two about the sport, but that doesn't mean they know how to adequately teach basic concepts in a way that a 5-year-old can understand. Grasping the basics of how a football formation works doesn't mean they know exactly what needs to be taught to kids of a certain age. Kids go through different development stages, and it's vital to respect their pace and only include certain aspects of the game when they're ready for them. Even in a small country like Iceland, every youth coach is required to be licensed. So if a country 95 times smaller than the USA can follow the same teaching patterns, why can't the USA do the same? Well, that's just another problem in itself. US football is utterly fragmented. The United States Soccer Federation is the governing body of football in America, but contrary to most successful nations, there's not a common path to follow. At the senior level, there are 3 different leagues for men that are completely unrelated to one another. There are 5 different councils for youth development and many other affiliate members who cater to players with disabilities, the army, and other variants of football. And that obviously makes me ponder, why are there so many different organizations? Why do they need so many separate entities for pretty much everything? Wouldn't it be much better to simply merge into one big organization that follows the same studied path in order to get everyone rowing in the same direction? It would be much easier and more efficient to create associations at the state level and, when necessary, at the county level to avoid costly long state trips and to create a more inclusive environment for all economic classes in the country. This way, kids would be able to continue playing even if they couldn't go to college. Besides, those less talented kids could still provide a valuable contribution by taking part in Sunday league level competition, which would help the country develop a more intense football culture similar to what you see in England and Germany. And ultimately, and without a shadow of a doubt, the most important factor is that in order to succeed, the USA has to accept losing. I've read a lot of feedback from American citizens and I've come to the conclusion that it's in their DNA to win, to be the best. However, that's not the basis of football, and as long as they use their own national culture in a sport with such a well-established identity, they'll continue to fail. Football is a poor man's sport, not a middle-class kid's pastime. People get together to watch their local club play, not because they have the best players in the world or the most trophies, but simply because they represent their identity and it's a fun get-together with people they only see twice a month. It doesn't matter if you'll win or lose, you'll still be there no matter what. I was legitimately shocked when I was told that one of the reasons why there are no relegations is because fans don't want to follow their teams into the lower leagues. But in reality, that's really the beauty of it all. When you follow a small club, you dream that one day you might just see it achieve promotion to the top tier. If there are no relegations or promotions, then what's the point of anything? It's like living knowing you're never going to die. But the worst part of this is that this toxic mentality is prevalent even in youth development. Coaches train their students to win games, and that approach often results in physically weaker kids getting left behind when they should be encouraged to make mistakes and learn from them. Parents also have the habit of changing their kids' team in the middle of a season to one that's performing better, believing that could help the kids' development, when in all honesty, that just makes things harder than they have to be. As much as it might sound counterproductive to give up a winning mentality when you're trying to succeed in a sport, in this particular case, it's a logical step in order to win when it actually matters. And that is it for the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Thorn FC for more football content from all around the world. And as always, thank you for watching until the end, I appreciate you, and I will see you on the next one.